Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank Deputy Brune for allowing me to start before him. Appreciate that. I welcome the opportunity to speak on this bill today. The bill comes from one of the recommendations of the Cost of Insurance Working Group, which urged the setting up of a national claims information database. We are all too well assured of the crippling insurance costs currently being experienced by anyone who has car insurance, home insurance, farm insurance, or business insurance, pet insurance even. The list is endless because the bottom line, that's right across the board, insurance costs have risen to an all-time high. One of the purposes of this bill is to provide transparency on motor insurance costs. This would facilitate a more in-depth analysis of motor insurance claims trends, which is key to understanding how claims costs are impacting premiums. I welcome this because we need transparency. Urgently, we need transparency in the insurance industry, and we need insurance costs to reduce, and current rising costs are crippling people. It is believed that the identification of settlement channel information should lead to a greater consistency in award levels and a greater use of the Personal Injuries Assessment Board. This in turn should lead to a more stable claims environment, which should have positive impacts for the price of insurance paid by consumers. I stand here with bated breath, Minister, to see will this promise of transparency actually lead to reduced premiums going forward, or is this another promise to look good on the headlines but never really transpires to having an actual real effect on the people of Ireland? I have to ask this question as for over 2 years I've been standing here in this very chamber begging that something be done about the rising insurance costs. I'm inundated with constituents, as other TDs must be, of mine coming to me distressed and upset with the quotes they are getting for motor insurance. Will this be a solution, finally, to this problem, I ask you? Will the people of Ireland finally see their insurance premiums reducing? Let's not forget, we need to look at the issue of returning immigrants and immigrants accessing motor insurance and ensure that they are not priced out of the market. For many years during the downturn, we saw so many of our youth immigrate across the world. In some ways, we are seeing the trend turning and these people wanting to return home. And not only are a lot of these people facing difficulty obtaining driver licences, which is absurd in my opinion, as a lot of these people already have full driving licences in other countries, yet they have to start at scratch here again in Ireland. They have to do their required amount of lessons and will need a full licensed driver to accompany them for a period of time. This is outrageous. These are experienced drivers, and we need to make allowances for these Irish people returning home after years abroad. Why should we be making it easier for them to return home and not putting in why we should be making it easier for them and not to return in their way? The quotes these people are receiving for insurances when they return home is off the scale. We need to address this issue. I believe we need to take all the necessary steps to encourage the people who had immigrated during the downturn to return home with a promise of affordable motor insurance and a consideration of their currently held non-Irish driving licence and the years of driving experience they have, regardless if that experience was gained outside of Ireland. Businesses have suffered greatly here in Ireland with crippling insurance costs. We have seen a wonderful business in Kilbrittain called the Secret Garden going from insurance costs, they told me, and they made it very public there a few months ago, insurance costs I think under 5,000, now paying in excess of 20,000 euros. That could actually wipe them out, and they're struggling to keep their doors open, even as popular all as the Secret Gardens in Kilbrittain is. It can't continue and it can't sustain that hit. This is outrageous, Minister. How do we expect any business to be able to cover an insurance hike as high as that? This business is an extremely important amenity in West Cork. It is used by people far and wide and gives them a lot of employment in a rural area. How we are allowing a business like this to have to face such crippling insurance, this needs to be addressed as a matter of urgency, Minister. I've seen a number of businesses in West Cork close in the last 2 weeks, and I am not saying it is directly because of insurance costs that these particular businesses close, but I know that the rising cost of insurance premiums for businesses is putting huge and enormous pressure on businesses and is not in any way helping any business to keep their doors open. Garages owners are telling me that they're facing huge insurance premiums. The consumer is tired of rising costs, and garages are struggling to keep their doors open and keep their costs low to the consumer with these outrageous insurance premiums over their heads. Again, another sector that is suffering greatly is the self-employed trade person. Their insurance costs are extremely high. As a standard in any business, it can be the normal run of business that at some point you will experience a claim on your insurance. But for these trades people, when this happens, even minor claims are causing inflated insurance premiums the next year. How do we expect any tradesperson to make a living when they are up against these types of rising costs? We're afraid to tackle the insurance companies too, Minister. You know, they can, you know, quite simply, I think they're paying out a lot of insurances when they should be, I think, fighting the cases stronger. They're stepping back in the courts and they find it cheaper to pay out. And I've been experiencing that in community violence groups that I'm involved in, and I see payouts for insurances that they shouldn't have paid out for. You know, very suspicious claims, and it's putting huge pressure on the community voluntary sector. Again, you know, if you're, regardless if you're a community council or a community whatever organisation, you know, they're paying a couple of €1,000 worth of insurance if you're anyway active. This is a terrible, terrible infliction on a voluntary organisation who have to come back out to the community to raise that type of funds. And I mentioned about, you know, motor insurance. We have to, I suppose, single out young drivers and the huge bills that they're trying to pay. Some of them are just simply working for their car. You know, the car, it could be a lovely car, but the insurance is costing a hell of a lot more than the car, and it's just terrible, terrible unfair on this. AXA Insurance Company recently sent out a letter to its customers in Castletownbere and surrounding areas in West Cork, stating that its Bantry office will be closing. These customers have been advised when the Bantry office closes, they are to use the Middleton office if they need an office. Now, this is a distance of 147 kilometres each way, which is a journey of 2 hours 10 minutes by car. A return journey totalling 4 hours 20 minutes. If I had been told on the 1st of April, I would have nearly thought it was April's Fool's Day joke that was being afflicted on the people of West Cork. How do AXA think that this is acceptable to its customers? It's outrageous, Minister, that AXA Insurance can just withdraw their services in West Cork, or in Bantry in this case, in rural Ireland. It's another continuation of more closures in Ireland, and they're getting away with it. AXA have no problem in taking people's money, but have a major problem in putting a manned personal service that they had for many, many decades in Bantry, and continue that. And I ask you, Minister, to personally to intervene in this issue. I mean, look, we've seen the closures of post offices, and I could go on here forever talking about closures, but this is a very serious issue for the people of West Cork. And they're AXA, like other insurance companies who are turning over, you know, handsome profits, show no respect to their customers in West Cork. And if you're expecting now to travel 4 hours 20 minutes if you want to talk to someone, or else go online, there's quite a lot of people in rural Ireland, the only line they know is a clothesline. Not everybody hits the front of the computer and starts it out. You need to talk to a person. If you're being hit with a massive insurance bill, you need to go into the office, you need to sit down and discuss it, not to be ages at the other end of the phone, or maybe not to talk to anybody at all, only expect you to hit the computer button, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, tough luck. That's total and utter disrespect. And I would urge you, Minister, to step in here, if you have any powers at all, or are they just totally untouchable, the insurance companies, and tell them they are not allowed to close their branches in rural Ireland. It isn't that they have one in every town. There's only one in my constituency, and that's that I know of, and that's Bantry. The nearest one is in another constituency in Cork, is Middleton. And they are now walking away from the people of West Cork. And my answer to that is this, and I'd advise the customers, if AXA Insurance or any other insurance company wants to walk away from me, you should seriously consider walking away from them. And that's what needs to happen here with insurance companies going on. So if we want to work the internet, let's work the internet away from them and forcing people into that position. And I, again, would urge you, Minister, to step in here and ask them to come before us here and ask them why are they closing their branches and why are they walking out of rural Ireland. I appreciate that. Thank you.